welcome. You're here early. The show will start in 1 minute. Please wait.
Welcome to the first edition of Kaustica Forward, our live keynote event, where the team at Kaustic Studios showcases this past year what we're working on, including major updates, and an inside look at the development of CVRF Reborn and ARRS from our lead developers, Lee and Cookie, and a special guest, Astronol, through development logs, showcases, and trailers. From the progress we've made since our debut at Astral Central 2025 to the technical limitations we've had to overcome to achieve our vision, all of which will be detailed through 4 segments, the first of which will be our ARRS segment, hosted by Lee. Cookie Crisps will host the second segment, highlighting CVRF Reborn. The third segment will be hosted by Jukenox, going over the rewritten lore and how we plan to implement it into our games, as well as answering commonly asked questions. The fourth segment will be conclusion and teasers, but expect to find some teasers and little tidbits throughout the keynote. With that being said, let's transition to our first segment with Lee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Astro, a developer for both ARRS and CVRF Reborn.
I'm Lee, lead developer and creative director of ARRS.
For those of you who are unaware, ARRS is a massive underground research facility built around the Artificial Singular Reactor, or ASR for short. Unlike most facility games, ARRS focuses heavily on atmosphere rather than gameplay events. And over the last year, we've been rebuilding many systems from the ground up to prepare for future events. We have reworked the architecture, effects, lighting, and presentation to make the reactor feel slightly more like the centerpiece of the facility.
The old design did its job, but we wanted something that felt larger, more industrial, and more in line with the modernized design with the rest of the facility.
Hey, it's me, Cookie, the real one. Also because giant spinning glowing things are cool.
One of the biggest additions coming to ARRS is a complete overhaul of the cave systems and a brand new transit area getting ready for the expansion in 1.22. You'll find expanded cave networks, improved environmental storytelling, new traversal routes, and an entirely rebuilt transit bay. The goal is to make the journey for the facility feel just as important as the destinations themselves. Just because I feel like it, and I don't want to have a shitty TTS voice saying this, I'll do the
One thing I've heard constantly is, ARRS looks cool but my computer sounds like a jet engine. And never seen a game so intensive that it lags even Aiden's PC, geez.
Performance has been one of our biggest focuses. Lee has spent a huge amount of time optimizing models, effects, scripts, and rendering behavior. The result is a much smoother experience across a wider range of devices.
And we're not stopping there. Optimization is going to be an ongoing effort moving forward, especially with CVRFR.
Most of the improvements players have are only possible thanks to the changes they can't see. Behind the scenes, ARS has undergone a full sizable framework rewrite, replacing the leftovers from the 2023 Phoenix framework as a new KC Nix framework. That was okay, I guess. This will lay the groundwork for future updates, including our map-free interface system and future projects built on Nix. Instead of building everything separately, we're creating a shared foundation that can grow ARS and by association, us. We've also been revising some older areas in the game.
Including the hallways, especially the hallways.
The main facility corridor has been slightly redesigned to better match the direction ARS is moving in. We've improved layout consistency, lighting, signage, detailing, and overall atmosphere. Alongside that, many older assets have received a bit of attention. Okay, I'm warning you, I'm about to scream.
It's the same facility, just significantly less 2023.
What's excited about it's a completely new startup sequence.
Previously, the reactor startup was fairly straightforward. Now it's becoming a proper facility-wide event. Emphasis on proper.
Added new visual effects, improving sequencing, and a far more cinematic experience overall. On the funner end of the spectrum, we've also redesigned the pre-midline stages.
Reactor failures now build tension more naturally instead of instantly going from everything is fine to everyone is doomed.
Now, for the fun part, events. ARS is receiving several new facility-wide events, including power outages, gas leaks, and 2 additional
Which we are
secret events.
absolutely not revealing today.
Not even a little.
Nope.
These events are designed to make every facility session feel different and create unexpected situations for players and staff alike. And finally, we spent a lot of time fixing things, like a lot of time. The menus break less, the cutscenes break less, the scripts break less, entire sections of the game break less, which is a great thing.
My goal isn't adding new content, it's making sure the existing content actually works.
Everything we've shown here today is only a portion of what we've actually been working on. ARS is moving towards a new phase of development entirely. A phase focused on stronger foundations, larger scale systems, deeper gameplay, and tighter connections to the wider Kaustica universe.
The work we've done over the past year is preparing ARRS not only for its next update, but for the years that follow.
Yeah, I've got a book for you. Can I just check on this? We can't wait for you to see more. Hold on a minute. Just. Oh hey, wait a minute! I forgot.
Hey yo, Cookie Crisps here, lead developer of CVRF Reborn, and welcome to the first official CVRF devlog in Kaustica Forward, where I'll be talking about behind the scenes development progress as well as what's to come in the future. But first, we have to go over what CVRF even is. Deep beneath the Alaskan mountain ranges, situated 500 feet underground, the Cobalt Valley Research Facility is a huge complex dedicated to scientific research and development of various machines and systems. There are lots of laboratories, sectors, and departments. This is CVRF Reborn, a reimagined but also faithful revival and continuation of the original CVRF by JKR Studios, which they have made open source as it was never completed. The aim of this endeavor is a faithful redesign and completion of the game, and also carrying on the legacy of CVRF. So, the concept behind this game amused me when I first played it. I felt like this type of game needs to be completed based on the vision and potential it has. Our project has become one of the most well-known continuation. Even the original JKR devs are unofficially supporting it through never before revealed designs and systems that were going to be implemented within the game but never really made it in. So, how did we get to this point? Well, in September 2022, JKR Studios discontinued development on CVRF, and then made it open source for everyone to edit on October 9th. A lot of CVRF spin-offs and projects were made shortly after, but all of them kinda just died out after a few months because everyone just kinda didn't want to work on it, I suppose. But there was one guy who actually managed to make a CVRF continuation that still goes on to this day. RW, also known as Nuke Man, started a revival of CVRF with one of his friends Jukenox, and this is how CVRF Reborn started after they formed the group Caustic Studios. And after countless hours of advertising and investing, some developers, such as me, volunteered to help on the project, not knowing it'd come this far. So anyways, what makes CVRF Reborn different from the original? Well, first of all, it has a huge reactor core, which we like to call the Dyson Sphere. It's basically an artificial star powered by these fictional crystals called photonium, which were not really a thing in the original, but exist within our newly written lore for this game. The reactor core is kinda meant to be seen as every other lab in the game, as it's mainly for research purposes on energy production. So how does the reactor even work? Well, when these exotic crystals are placed within the reactor chamber, they're boiled down to a liquid, which gets turned into a very hot laser, concentrated through these huge lenses to a central point. The Dyson Sphere shields keep the core stable during the startup, and also kinda acts like solar panels getting energy from the sun, you know? And once it's powered on, it becomes the main energy source for the entire facility. This right here is the Reactor Visitor Center on Sublevel 3, which was originally going to be the old reactor chamber for the original CVRF. However, JKR apparently scrapped the idea of having a reactor and wanted to replace it with a geothermal power plant, which in theory should be added to our game, to act as a main power source when the reactor isn't in a functional status. So, what do? Well, first of all, we turn this big octagonal room into a visitor center for the reactor, because lore-wise, this facility is also a huge tourist attraction in Alaska. So, from that huge room, we use the lower atrium and a brand new cavern bridgeway to lead to the control room of the reactor. And of course, we added some maintenance tunnels along the way called the maintenance duct, where there's just lots of dump storage, and also Easter eggs. We also added visitor routes in the sublevels leading to some viewing areas. Visitors can see beautiful crystal caves, a cavern balcony looking over a huge bottomless waterfall, and they can also look into the crystal sampling cavern. And finally, we have the reactor observation area, where visitors can view the reactor underneath the control room. There's also a cafe with some info signs. We thought it'd be cool to make this facility more than just a research place, so we mixed in a national park vibe into it. Okay, so believe it or not, that was only just 50% of the sublevel expansion we're going for. There's still lots to come in the future, but more on that later. Other than the sublevel expansion, we did lots of revamping in old areas. I put loads of work into remaking old labs that needed a glow up, such as the cold storage and helium lab, the water distillation lab, the waste silos, the hydroponics farm, and finally this huge viewpoint area. All of which have not much gameplay included yet, but we hope to add some sort of unique element of gameplay to each and every lab and area. New places we added include the infirmary and medical pods, the tram electrical, the cargo bay ceiling expansion, the airflow management, the laser manipulation lab, and the amazing looking turbine hall. We've also worked on fixing many bugs from the original CVRF, as well as adding tons of detail to old places, replacing old sounds with newer ones, updating visuals, and adding new systems such as the power outage, which is still under work. And a lot of this only scratches the surface of how much work went into making everything and how much work there still is to come. And we're doing all this while trying to stay true to the original CVRF, like using old assets for future areas, and we're not trying to rip off the original CVRF or anything, but rather adding tons of new content to make it feel more expanded and alive. It's not perfect or a definitive continuation, but it's one that I think a lot of you will love, despite all of its flaws. Right now the game is still a bit bare bones because we're in the process of finalizing unfinished areas, future-proofing assets, and still discussing how everything should function, and not to mention the amount of scripting that still needs to be done. So we're working on optimizing the game as well, because let me tell you, this game tanks on performance. So anyways, our latest update was 0.25, which was a year ago, I think. Wait, what? That was a year ago? Dang, time sure does fly by. So, what's taking so long? Well, last summer I was mentally overwhelmed and needed a long break, which lasted from September to December. which is the main reason why updating has been taking so long. But there's good news. CVRF Reborn update 0.26 is around the corner, and while it may not be a super huge update, it still has lots to offer, including the reactor control room redesign, the reactor observation area redesign, a new cavern view for the tram route, and also a new KV tram depot area, with an additional space for a geological survey lab, which will be fully finished by the next update, 0.27. Oh, and yeah, our new official logo is going to be everywhere in the game now. This update will also feature new Z-pinch visuals, a remade headcrab reach, which is still very laggy, and a revamped security checkpoint, and a way to freeze to death in the cold storage. Oh, and finally, the reactor startup sequence, which will be the main new feature, and let me tell you, it's amazing. For now, the control room only has 2 features, like 2 buttons, and it's just for the reactor startup and the Dyson Sphere shield enabling. There's also lots of new small details here and there, both in architecture and redesigned models. Alright, so that was the main overview of what's to expect in the new update. So, what's in store for the future? Well, I'm not going to spoil everything, but we have lots of great plans for the future. First and foremost, CVRF Reborn will have brand new written lore, and will also be connected to the Alaskan Reactor Research Site, which is our other game, because they take place in the same universe. The lore and storylines will be a big part of the future direction we're taking our games, and we're also taking it very seriously. In the sublevels, we're planning to add lore-specific areas. We'll also be adding a huge collider deep underground. We're not entirely sure where we're going with this yet, but the idea is to make it unique from other colliders by making 2 big lasers collide with each other instead of just making a long, realistic particle accelerator. So yeah, we're also planning on finishing almost every originally planned lab by JKR Studios that we think would fit in the game, but we also want to look into making new, unique lab ideas that can come out of the blue. Oh, and of course, we will try and make everything work. We want this facility to feel alive, and anyone should have the freedom to do as many things as possible, like, I don't know, putting stuff on fire, exploding things, running crazy experiments and logging them. So, yeah. And this is the roleplay framework which we'll be working on. It will be a big part of how you play this game. All roles currently in-game have not much purpose, but soon enough they will be connected together gameplay-wise in order to run the facility. And you know what, I'll just give a small insight to how much more we're planning to add other than the labs. We'll have a new tramline system. Multiple trams will run on different lines, the blue line and the green line. The green line will lead to the surface. It's also why we're adding a tram depot. The idea is that players will be able to decide how much trams they want on a line. The tram depot will also serve as a place to repair trams as well as a place to park them, basically. And in the future, it could also be a terminal station for visitors, but I'm still not really sure about that. Also, scripting multiple trams to run at once is going to be a nightmare. But anyways, there will be more burnable things, and there will also be a sprinkler system. Players will be able to burn way more things with the blowtorch in the future, as well as they will have the option to activate a sprinkler system in order to put out the fires, which I think will be very cool. There will also be new achievements / badges, and this random room over here will also be finished one day. And seismic events. There will be underground earthquakes that will cause a number of events in the facility, like a power outage, because in the Alaskan mountain ranges, I'm sure there would be a lot of underground earthquakes or something like that, so I think that's a very cool potential event we'll have in the future. But anyways, we also have the maintenance wing electrical. This will be a way to restore the power during a power outage. And we also have the coolant control center, which will basically just be a way to control the turbines with the reactor and all that. And we also have the archives room, which is in the lower atrium. It will be a place to uncover construction archives, accidents, logs, and cartridges for the reactor startup. And also lore documents. Okay, anyways. We also have underground living quarters, because we need a place for players to sleep and all that, so players will be able to use their paycheck money to buy placeable items in a room which they can claim, and there will be 3 main living quarter levels, basically. And of course we have the top side, which is the surface of the facility, and it will hopefully be finished one day, and it'll have a visitor center, it'll have a warehouse, 3 labs, an auditorium, a place called Checkpoint Alpha, a meteorology research base, an observatory, an interview room, and hopefully much more. I think it'll be sick. We're also going to have the geothermal power plant, which is in Sector A. It'll mainly house all the geothermal wells, which are technically connected to the top side. Of course, we'll have the reactor core meltdown. Our plan is just to make it absolutely astonishing. Hopefully it's just going to be one of the most chaotic things ever, but also very cool at the same time. We're also going to have the reputation system, which was originally going to be remade in the original CVRF until it got discontinued, but we'll definitely try and make a good system similar to how JKR Studios wanted to remake it. We also plan to add tons of cool sci-fi music to CVRF to make it feel more immersive and cinematic, so hopefully we'll have a lot of cool soundtracks in there. And of course, we'll also still keep working on optimizing the game entirely so it runs smoother on performance. So anyways, those are just big key things we're going to add, but there's way more, which I haven't even mentioned yet. Development for CVRF Reborn will definitely still take a couple years at least, given that I'm also helping Lee work on ARS. But CVRF Reborn as a whole isn't really meant to be perfect in any way or form. It's rather meant to be a cool and funny game to play. And yes, I mean funny.
Oh no, I have a forklift.
Do you feel...
Shoot the cars.
What just happened to me?
But anyways, that marks the end of this CVRF devlog. We didn't really go over everything, but I hope you all enjoyed more in-depth detail of what we've been working on, and I can't wait for y'all to play the new update 0.26, which is releasing on June 20th. And with that, the CVRF Reborn segment comes to an end. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm glad to be a part of Kaustica Forward. Also, we have an official CVRF Reborn YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out as well for more featured devlogs and showcases. Anyways, have a good one, y'all. This is me, Cookie Crisps, and back to you, Juke and RW.
Welcome back. You just saw the raw technical capabilities of Alaskan Reactor Research Site and the massive infrastructure changes coming to Cobalt Valley Research Facility Reborn. The mechanics and environments are only half of the experience. The other half is why you're there. Historically, the lore of Cobalt Valley Research Facility was fragmented. Today, we are officially hitting the reset button. The old canon is void. Moving forward, Caustic Studios is building a unified universe that you can properly understand without an entire Notion page and 30-minute tours going over what means what and the whole bonanza. Cobalt Valley Research Facility and the Alaskan Reactor Research Site are no longer semi-intertwined games. They exist on the same timeline within the same world. Events that trigger in one facility will have direct narrative ripples in the other. But we are changing how we deliver that story. We are moving away from massive walls of text. Our focus is entirely on environmental storytelling. You will uncover the history of these facilities through map design, archived audio, facility damage, and the overarching mystery of the anomalies you're researching. Before we move to the final showcase, I want to address a few of the most frequently asked questions we've been seeing from the community. So our first question, will our roles or progress carry over between CVRF and ARRS? Because these games exist in the same universe, we are planning to develop universal backend systems. For example, it'll be built on the Nix framework. While your specific security clearance or in-game wallet might be localized to each facility, the overarching roleplay framework is being standardized. If you learn how to operate the reactor systems in one game, that operational logic will directly translate to the other. For our second question, when will this new lore actually be playable? You will see the first elements in CVRF Update 0.26. The new sublevels and the expanded maintenance ducts contain the first environmental clues of the new timeline. That includes multiple new set pieces and cutscenes in ARRS. Question 3. Are we still getting consistent updates for both games? Yes. By unifying our core systems and rebuilding our assets, our development pipeline will be significantly more efficient, making it easier to share assets between games. The scale of what we are building is massive, and the narrative behind it is darker and more complex than anything Caustic Studios has produced before. And to give you a concrete look at what this new direction feels like, we've prepared a brief look into the archives. This is the new standard for the Kaustica universe.
Currently, I think the most important thing to us at Kaustica Energy Corporation is it's taking our time and really making sure that the utmost precautions, especially safety precautions, are taken before handling such a delicate material or substance or element, non-organic compound. It's odd because there isn't really much there when you look at it. Like, photonium is almost pure light, but there's a physicality to it in a way, in the sense that the surface of the atom is quite unstable. You'll notice that it kind of almost like writhes, like it moves. It's like it's alive.
Whoever keeps doing this, please stop. This is the third time I've had to call maintenance about this. Now I have to call security to investigate.
Anyways. And it's odd because anything that goes within proximity to the atom just kind of feels, it seems like it's repulsed. It moves away. Does whatever it can to stay away from anything that comes near it. Which is odd because in large densities, it has an extremely strong gravitational pull, as if it were a black hole. And the best evidence we have of this is the Dyson Sphere reactor at Cobalt Valley Research Facility, as well as the reactor at Alaskan Reactor Research Site, which actually contains activated photonium, which is quite unstable. So we've only handled it a couple times. It kind of just sits in containment. And when we do have to handle it, we have to make sure the entire system, the entire facility is shut down to avoid any interference. Because we really don't know what this substance, this mineral, this rock is capable of, and we've only seen it such a small amount of such a small crystal could produce such a massive explosion. It kind of makes us concerned, makes us wonder, like, just how wide, how large of a scale how destructive could even just maybe 20% larger crystal be? Like, we're not sure. Is it logarithmic? Is it exponential? Who knows? Because it doesn't seem to work linearly as you increase the mass, because the mass of the Dyson sphere reactor is quite large, but its gravitational pull is not linear relative to smaller quantities or smaller masses. So it's really quite odd.
So our new cycle of revisions is going to be from development to Canary to staging to production. Staging is exclusively for those with this Donator's Pass. That is anyone who's chosen to support this game in any means, whether that be by donations, Game Pass purchases, or consistent contributions towards our game. You'll be able to preview our updates early and be the first ones to look at the stable branch before it releases to the main. Canary is verified by testers, people who we specifically select QA, quality assurance individuals, quality assurance. Our crack quality assurance team is going to make sure that the game is actually playable and things actually work before being sent off to those who pay to have a great experience or see things earlier. And then after a week of staging, it'll be published to the main. This will streamline our process, meaning we will have certain segments for certain people to provide certain types of feedback, whether that be technical from the Canary and a big mix from the staging. This will greatly speed up the process of updates, as well as our connection to the community and what we think and what you guys think is what we think is in the best interest for you guys based off of your guys' feedback. Thank you for attending Kaustica Forward 2026. We hope to see you. Okay. Because I'm not centered. Thank you for attending Kaustica Forward 2026. We are so excited to show you guys what we have in store over the next upcoming weeks and year. Stay tuned for any special real-time Q&As in the upcoming hours and days. Possibly a year. And what? We hope to see you guys in the servers, whether that be testing to the main branch. We are so excited to show you guys what we have to offer, as well as collaborate with the community and this amazing and to explore this amazing world that Kaustica Energy Corporation has to offer. Thank you for attending Kaustica Forward 2026. We'll see you in the next one.